on the day that both of them had to go back to work, meaning Ryan had to go back to film, Wayfarer gets that shocking email of demands. Anyways, jumping back into, he then moves immediately to ask to change their production dates. I would have your line producer's face tattooed to my perineum. Perineum is one of the most nervy parts of the human body to expose to trauma. What? Deadpool after party. Ryan went and found a William Morris Endeavor and told that executive that they were working with a sexual predator, referring to Justin Baldoni. So we find out that when she starts getting bad press, and this is a perfect time for Ryan to manipulate her, in my opinion, I'm going to draft a statement that Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer have to read to save Blake's reputation. Ryan demanded that Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer lie to the public. So they gave them the opportunity, basically put a gun to their head and said, this is a statement that we want you to read. So this is like why I love this lawsuit, because this is an insight that everything you read is BS. Sony informed them that there would be a cast-wide boycott if James Heath or Justin Baldoni attended the premiere. I have just been amazed how the cast just like knew that Justin was a good person but went along with this anyways. Like all of these people who, if you even aspire to be like a Hollywood actor and actress, you're dealing with someone who probably has some narcissistic tendencies. I'm not saying everyone, but the majority. This is why we have these stereotypes about Hollywood.
Hey y'all, it's Holly from Hollywood Stars Unfiltered, and let me tell you, this Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni drama, woo, chile. It's giving courtroom thriller, it's giving power struggle, it's giving Hollywood's messiest breakup without the romance. And let's be real, if you thought It Ends With Us was dramatic, buckle up, because the behind the scenes tea is scalding. We've got blackmail allegations, a celebrity power couple possibly pulling strings, and even Taylor Swift's name getting dragged into the mix. Y'all, when Taylor is involved, you know it's serious. So was this just a case of creative differences, or did Blake single-handedly hijack a movie and take down its original director? Hit that like button because your girl gotta get her nails done, and let's get into this Hollywood mess. Okay, let's start with who we're dealing with. Blake Lively, Hollywood's resident it girl, married to Ryan Reynolds, aka the internet's boyfriend, known for her flawless fashion and, let's be honest, somewhat limited acting range. Sorry, Gossip Girl fans, but you know it's true. Then we've got Justin Baldoni, actor, director, and the guy who makes you cry with his deep emotional takes on storytelling. He's Mr. Good Vibes Only, always talking about elevating women's voices and creating movies with heart. So why are these two at war? Simple, It Ends With Us. Justin secured the rights, developed the script, and was set to direct the whole thing. Then Blake came on board and suddenly everything changed. All right, y'all, let's talk about how Justin Baldoni went from being the director of his passion project to looking like an extra on his own set, because besties, what started as a collaboration quickly turned into what some are calling a Hollywood-style corporate takeover. So before Blake even signed on to It Ends With Us, she had some thoughts. And by thoughts, I mean a full-on list of demands. Allegedly, she wanted significant script changes, which, okay, fine, actors tweak things all the time. But here's where it gets dicey. She didn't just ask for a few adjustments. She reportedly wanted full-on rewrites. And not just that, but insiders claim Blake wanted a bigger say in production decisions, which, hi, that's literally the director's job. Blink twice if you need help. Now, at first, Justin allegedly tried to compromise. He's known for being a team player, and sources say he was willing to work with Blake to make sure she felt comfortable in the role. But then, besties, Sony executives apparently started siding with Blake. I know, right? Suddenly, it wasn't just about her making changes, it was about the studio letting her make those decisions over Justin. Y'all, I don't know about you, but that is wild. Imagine building a house from scratch, choosing every detail, picking out the floors, the colors, the vibe, and then, right before you finish, someone swoops in, kicks you out, and starts redecorating like it's their own. That's what happened to Justin. And y'all, it doesn't stop there. Now, according to sources, and by sources I mean the internet detectives who live for this kind of drama, there was a secret meeting at Sony where things really took a turn. Picture this, Justin walks in expecting to discuss his vision for his movie, but instead, it's basically an intervention. Blake, a bunch of studio execs, and allegedly a few key people from Ryan Reynolds' camp, because of course Ryan's got to be involved, were all there. And besties, they weren't just talking, they were laying down ultimatums. Sony allegedly told Justin that if he wanted to stay on as director, he'd have to play by Blake's rules. If not, well, let's just say directors get replaced all the time. Translation, play nice or we'll find someone who will. Now imagine being Justin in this moment, having to decide whether to fight for your project or just go along with it to keep your job. And honestly, that's when the power shift became official. But besties, it still gets messier. So with Sony in her corner, Blake allegedly started making changes left and right. And the big question, was she just trying to elevate the project or was she taking over because she didn't trust Justin's vision? Some crew members reportedly felt torn, saying Blake was pushing for a more commercial, polished version while Justin wanted to stick to the raw, emotional storytelling that made the book a bestseller. And that's when things really started shifting behind the scenes. Justin, once the main creative force, was now being outvoted on major decisions, from how certain scenes played out to who had final say in the editing room. So let's break it down. Blake demanded rewrites. Sony execs backed her over Justin. Justin's authority got majorly downgraded. Suddenly, the entire project was being reshaped, and not by the guy who started it. And y'all, we're only just getting started, because next, we gotta talk about the alleged blackmail bombshell that took this drama from bad to straight up scandalous. Are we surprised? Not even a little? Now, this is where we enter conspiracy theory territory, but stay with me because it's suspicious AF. Months before all this went public, a mysterious Reddit post claimed that Blake Lively threatened to accuse Justin of misconduct if Sony didn't let her have final say over the edit. I know, right? And let's just say, when Sony caved to her demands, but Justin still got slammed with a shady New York Times hit piece, people started connecting the dots. Coincidence? Not likely. All right, besties, grab your detective hats because Taylor Swift just entered the chat, and not in the way you might think. Now, we all know that Taylor and Blake are basically Hollywood besties. They vacation together, they bake cookies together, their kids have play dates. Cute, right? But what if I told you that Taylor wasn't just supporting Blake as a friend, but actually pulling strings behind the scenes? Because according to industry insiders, and by insiders I mean the internet's FBI level Swifties who clock everything, Taylor might have had way more influence over this drama than anyone realized. And besties, it gets shadier than a Kardashian Instagram filter. So first up, let's talk music. Originally, It Ends With Us had a different composer lined up for the soundtrack. Someone with a more cinematic, emotional style. Think moody indie film vibes. But then, allegedly, Taylor wasn't feeling it. Yes, you heard that right. Now, we don't know exactly what went down, but multiple sources claim that after a certain set visit from Taylor, discussions about the movie's music took a sudden turn. Next thing we know, the original composer is out, and the film is rumored to be working with someone much more pop-friendly. Gee, I wonder who could have suggested that. Now, let's be real. Taylor's a businesswoman first, a bestie second. If she saw a chance to boost Blake's movie with her own musical influence, why wouldn't she take it? But the question is, was this just bestie level help, or was Taylor starting to have a little too much say in this movie? Now, let's talk damage control. Besties, we know that when Taylor Swift wants a narrative controlled, it gets controlled. This is the same woman who erased Scooter Braun's career from public favor and turned her breakup albums into billion-dollar tours. If she didn't want Justin to have a leg to stand on in this drama, well, he wouldn't. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. Coincidence? Not likely. Now, I'm not saying Taylor called up the New York Times herself and said, hey, y'all should totally write a hit piece on Justin, but let's be honest, she has the industry connections to make things happen without lifting a finger. Some fans are convinced that Taylor's deep ties to the media played a part in how fast Justin's reputation took a nosedive. Because think about it, before all this, he was Mr. Good Guy, the wholesome director everyone loved. And then bam, suddenly he's the villain? That's a swift narrative change. Pun absolutely intended. So did Taylor help orchestrate Justin's downfall to protect Blake? Or was she just being a supportive bestie while the Hollywood drama machine did its thing? Okay, so here's where things get extra interesting. If Taylor was so deep in this mess, why did she suddenly back away from the project once the backlash started? Because besties, if you notice, Taylor went from hyping up Blake's big movie role to suddenly not mentioning it at all. Not a single, so proud of my bestie Blake, or can't wait for y'all to see this. Suspicious, right? And some fans think that's because she saw the backlash coming and dipped before it got messy. Imagine the group chat. Blake, hey, do you mind doing a little PR push for the movie? Taylor, Okay, I'm kidding, but y'all get the point. The theory goes that Taylor, being the PR mastermind she is, knew that if Blake's takeover rumors got too big, it could make her look bad by association. So what did she do? Quietly take a step back. And honestly, that was a power move, because now when people talk about the drama, Taylor's name is in the mix, but not too deep. She gets just enough buzz to stay relevant, but not enough to take the fall if things go south. So, besties, let's recap. Taylor allegedly pushed for soundtrack changes. She may have had a hand in controlling the media narrative. She distanced herself just enough when the backlash started. So, was she just being a good friend? Or was she a silent architect behind the scenes, shaping the downfall of Justin Baldoni? I need answers, y'all. Sound off in the comments because I know you have thoughts. All right, besties, let's talk about Ryan Reynolds, because if there's one thing we know about him, it's that he is the king of snark, sarcasm, and very strategic pettiness. This man doesn't just throw shade, he installs blackout curtains. And when it comes to protecting his wife, Blake Lively, oh, you better believe he's ready to unleash some Deadpool-level warfare. So what does he have to do with the Justin Baldoni drama? Well, according to some very interesting industry whispers, Ryan may have used his influence, his humor, and his deep Hollywood connections to turn the tide against Justin. And besties, if this theory is true, Justin never stood a chance. Let's break it down. Okay, so here's where things take a wild turn. Rumors started swirling that Ryan wasn't exactly thrilled about how close Blake and Justin were getting on set. And listen, before y'all come for me, I'm not saying anything shady happened, but you know how Hollywood works. All it takes is one flirty joke, one cozy behind the scenes moment, and suddenly the internet is shipping you like it's a 2012 Tumblr fanfic. And apparently Ryan caught wind of these whispers, and let's just say he was not amused. Now, does this mean he thought anything was actually going on? Probably not. But Ryan's whole brand is being the sarcastic, protective husband. And if he even thought someone was overstepping their boundaries with Blake, oh, you know he was going to get involved. Now, let's talk about what happened next, because this is where things go from maybe he was just annoyed to Ryan might have actually helped torpedo Justin's career. So remember how Justin suddenly started getting bad press? How the New York Times article dropped and his reputation took a hit overnight? Well, besties, guess who just so happens to be very well connected in the industry? Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood's favorite funny guy. Ryan Reynolds, besties with half of Sony's top execs. Ryan Reynolds, who's worked with basically every major director and producer. Y'all see where I'm going with this? There's a theory that Ryan used his influence to quietly push Justin out of favor. And honestly, it wouldn't be the first time someone in Hollywood got unofficially blacklisted by the right or wrong people. Now, this is all speculation, of course, but when you look at the timing, how Justin went from being a respected, well-liked director to suddenly being the problematic one, coincidence? Or was Ryan out here playing chess while Justin was still figuring out checkers? Here's another interesting layer. Ryan Reynolds has a history of taking his jokes a little too far. Now, don't get me wrong, his humor is why we love him, but sometimes it allegedly crosses the line. Remember when TJ Miller, Ryan's former Deadpool co-star, straight up said that Ryan made things weirdly personal on set? TJ even claimed that Ryan's humor could feel cruel and cutting, and that sometimes it seemed like he was using jokes to take jabs at people in a way that wasn't actually funny. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? So now imagine Justin, who's already losing power on his own movie, suddenly finding himself the butt of Ryan's jokes. Some sources even claim Ryan was making comments behind the scenes, cracking jokes that painted Justin as the controlling, difficult director, which, let's be real, is Hollywood's favorite excuse to get rid of someone. Oh no, not a director who actually cares about his movie. How awful. And let's be honest, if Ryan did start subtly trash talking Justin in Hollywood circles, it's not like people were going to question him, because who's going to check Ryan Reynolds? Nobody. All right, so let's recap. Ryan hears rumors about Blake and Justin's chemistry. Suddenly, Justin starts getting frozen out of his own project. Then the bad press magically appears, and Ryan, still Hollywood's golden boy, making jokes and walking away unscathed. Y'all, the math is mathin'. So was this just Ryan being a protective husband, using his powerful connections to protect Blake and make sure she had full control of the movie? Or was this a full-on Hollywood revenge move, taking out a guy who maybe overstepped and making sure he never got in the way again? Either way, Justin never saw coming. And besties, it still gets messier, because next we gotta talk about how Sony allegedly got strong-armed into handing over the movie to Blake completely. Are we surprised? Not even a little. And then, boom, the New York Times dropped a scathing article painting Justin as the problematic one, just as Sony handed over full creative control to Blake. Y'all, this man nurtured this project from day one, and suddenly he's out and she's running the show? Something ain't adding up. Hollywood loves a power move, but this is next level calculated. A beloved actress suddenly taking over a film? A male director mysteriously becoming a villain overnight? A power couple possibly pulling strings behind the scenes? So tell me, besties, was this just an innocent case of creative differences, or was Justin Baldoni systematically erased from his own project? Vent off in the comments. Ooh, y'all, this one is messy with a capital M. Blake, Ryan, Taylor, it's giving celebrity mafia energy, and I need to know your thoughts. Team Justin, Team Blake, or is this just another Hollywood fever dream? Sound off in the comments. And don't forget, smash that like button because your girl got bills to pay. Hit that subscribe and turn on notifications because I guarantee this drama isn't over yet.